Hi, I'm Josh Lockheed, Training Evangelist here at QuoteWerks. Today we're going to be demonstrating how to set up the integration between QuoteWerks and HaloPSA. This includes configuring integration points such as searching and pulling in HaloPSA contacts, creating and updating HaloPSA sales opportunities, creating and updating HaloPSA quotes, and interacting with the HaloPSA items database from inside of QuoteWerks. This demo will walk you through the steps required to set up a HaloPSA API-only agent, obtaining your HaloPSA credentials, and configuring the integration from within QuoteWerks. We will begin today by logging into our HaloPSA account via our custom URL. We'll put in our username, password, and click Login. The first step in setting up the integration is creating a HaloPSA API-only user. This is the user that will be leveraged to authenticate the communication between HaloPSA and QuoteWerks. To set up this user, click on the configuration icon on the left toolbar. We'll click on Teams and Agents, and then Agents under the Core Features headings. This will bring us to a listing of all of our current users. We want to create a new user, so we'll select the New button at the top right of the page. This opens a new agent page where you can create a new user. You want to give it a name that's easily identifiable as your QuoteWerks API agent, something like QuoteWerks Agent. For the purposes of this demonstration, since we already have an agent with that name, we'll name ours QuoteWerks Agent 1. We'll assign the agent an email address and a password. We'll also set the role to administrator and ensure that both the account active and is an API-only agent checkboxes are selected. There are a number of other settings that are required, like default team, work hours, and default charge rate. These can be set to whatever you would like, as they do not affect the agent's ability to manage the API. Once all selections have been made, scroll to the bottom of the page and hit Save. Now that we have our API-only agent created, we'll now want to create a HaloPSA API application. To do so, we'll click back to the configuration icon, except this time we'll select Integrations under the Advanced heading. We'll select HaloPSA API under the Featured heading. On the next page, we'll click on View Applications. This will list any existing applications, but what we want to do is create a new one, so we'll click on the New button on the top left of the page. This brings us to the Add an Application page. Like with our agent, we want to make sure we name this application something that is easily identifiable as being associated with QuoteWerks. We'll name our application QuoteWerks 1. We want to make sure that the active checkbox is selected and that we set the authentication method to client ID and secret services. This will present you with a client ID and a client secret. It is important that you copy and save those to a secure location. Note that the client secret for this application will only be shown once, and if you forget it, you will need to generate and start using a new one. Next, we want to set up our login type to agent and select the API-only agent we created earlier in this demonstration. Additionally, we will click on the Permissions tab and select All Standard. We'll then scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and hit Save. Our new application will now be listed in our application list, and we can use the client ID and client secret in QuoteWerks to establish the integration connection. To do so, let's go back into QuoteWerks. Click on the Contacts drop-down menu and select Set up Contact Manager. We'll select HaloPSA from the list on the left and then click on HaloPSA Setup. This will open the HaloPSA Setup window. Opening this window brings you to the Accounts tab. This is where you want to input your server URL, that's the URL that you use to log in to HaloPSA, the client ID, and the client secret. Once you've input this information, you should click Test Connection to make sure the connection has been established. If everything has been set up correctly, you will receive a pop-up that indicates that HaloPSA authenticated successfully. If you get anything other than success, make sure to go back and check that you have input the correct keys. The next tab is the Opportunity tab, which controls how QuoteWerks users create, update, and generally interact with opportunities in HaloPSA. Under Opportunity Actions, you can change when to set an opportunity to 1. You can choose to never convert to 1, automatically when converting to an order, or automatically when converting to invoice. Most will choose to mark the opportunity to 1 when the quote is converted to an order, but this gives you some flexibility based on your needs. Also under the Opportunity Actions, you can choose to update the HaloPSA opportunity name with the document name, be prompted to create an opportunity when converting a quote to an order or invoice, if one does not already exist, and write products into the opportunity. If you choose to write products into the HaloPSA opportunity, all products included in the quote in QuoteWerks will be written into the opportunity even if they do not exist in HaloPSA. If they don't exist, they will be created as a record in the HaloPSA items database. The next section on the Opportunity tab is Opportunity Details. Here you can set line handling settings. You can choose to write line item detail into the HaloPSA opportunity or write a single summary line instead. Most will choose to write line item detail as this gives you the granularity to see what individual products were quoted, but this option gives you the ability to choose. If we choose to write line item detail, we will be prompted to configure how we want to map the HaloPSA item number. The default and most often used is manufacturer part number, but again you have the option to choose a different field in QuoteWerks to map the item number to. If you do, you will have the option to configure part number or generation options, which will govern how part numbers are assigned if the mapped QuoteWerks field is blank. You can set this to not auto-generate using a macro, or auto-generate using a macro based on the QuoteWerks item type. Each HaloPSA opportunity item must have a part number. Regardless of how you choose to map the HaloPSA item number, you'll be prompted to select how to handle items that for whatever reason have the part number blank even after following the item mapping rules. You can assign specific part numbers to be used based on their item or line types. The last two options in the Opportunity Details sections are Include Item Cost and Opportunity line items and Copy Name to SKU field for each product. Including item cost and opportunity line items will do just that. Send over the item cost in addition to the part number, description, price, and other item details. Copy Name to SKU field for each product will write the QuoteWerks manufacturer part number into the SKU field in HaloPSA. This is useful for being able to quickly verify that all items have been written into HaloPSA and provides consistent product identification across systems. The Settings tab allows you to configure miscellaneous settings like address field mapping, default product group, and default product owner. Field mapping gives you the ability to map address lines in HaloPSA to fields in QuoteWerks. It is important that you set these correctly so the address information is shared consistently and accurately across systems. Default product groups allows you to set which product group to use when a QuoteWerks line item cannot be matched to an existing HaloPSA product and a new HaloPSA product needs to be created. And lastly for this tab, Default Record Owner gives you the ability to set who you want the agent to be when creating an opportunity and quote records. This can be set to QuoteWerks Logged In User or QuoteWerks Sales Rep, both of which are mapped to the HaloPSA username. In order for the username mapping to occur, you have to make sure to complete user mapping from the User Mappings tab. This tab lists all QuoteWerks users, and using the drop-down boxes gives you the ability to associate them with a HaloPSA user. This ensures that as opportunities and quotes are created and modified, that the appropriate HaloPSA user is being assigned. It is a best practice that once all of your HaloPSA setup steps have been completed, that you go back one last time to verify everything has been configured correctly. Once confirmed, you should click OK to save your changes and create test opportunities to familiarize yourself with how information is shared between QuoteWerks and HaloPSA. If we go back to the Contact Manager setup window, there is another area we can leverage in managing the HaloPSA integration: Data Link Setup. Configuring a data link allows us to control what information is copied and when between the HaloPSA and QuoteWerks systems. It allows you to pull additional information from fields in HaloPSA when retrieving the contacts information from HaloPSA. This data from HaloPSA can be used to complete fields in the QuoteWerks document such as customer profile, the tax rate, customer terms, custom fields, and more for the customer. If we click on the Data Link Setup button, the Data Link Setup window appears. As you can see, the data link can be very useful and used in many different integrations as represented by the different entries on this screen. To create a new data link, click on the orange New button on the top left of the window. As an example, we will configure this data link so that when we retrieve the sold to information in QuoteWerks, we will reach out to HaloPSA and read the client payment terms into the terms field in QuoteWerks. Data links are very simple to configure, but very powerful in their ability to share non-standard field information between systems. Having completed the setup steps outlined in this video, you will now have the ability to search and pull in HaloPSA contacts into QuoteWerks, create and update HaloPSA sales opportunities, create and update HaloPSA quotes, and interact with the HaloPSA items database from inside of QuoteWerks. This demo has walked you through the steps required to set up a HaloPSA API-only agent, obtaining your HaloPSA credentials, and configuring the integration from within QuoteWerks. For information on how to use the HaloPSA integration, please see the Introduction to HaloPSA video. As always, if you have any questions or would like more information on the HaloPSA integration, please see our help files or reach out to the team at 407 248-1481.